Hello and welcome to another episode of AdTech Talks, where we try and bring you the latest technologies and emerging trends from the industry. Today, we have with us Integral Ad Science, which is a global leader in media quality. And they recently launched the Industry Pulse 2022 report, which takes on the perspectives of over 150 digital media experts in India and talks about media challenges and opportunities for 2022. The report basically highlights key emerging media trends, emerging technologies that will shape the advertising world in this year. And we have with us Saurabh Khattar, who is the India commercial lead at Integral Ad Science, to talk to us further about this report. So Integral Ad Science works towards brand safety, fraud protection, with a mission to be the global benchmark for trust and transparency in the digital media quality. And Saurabh is leading Integral Ad Science's India expansion efforts as part of the larger global initiatives that are taking place within the country. Welcome, Saurabh. It is great to have you at AdTech Talks.
Thank you, Shiny. Thank you for the detailed introduction. I'm really happy to be present here and share my thoughts on Industry Pulse report and overall ad tech industry in India. Thank you for the welcome.
Wonderful, Saurabh. I've gone through the report in great detail, and I think really good insights that are coming out of it. And let me pick your brains on some of the questions that I had while I was going through it, right? So, Saurabh, in the report, it mentions mobile and social media as the biggest opportunities for brands today. And these are also obviously taking the highest share of ad spends. Now, while social media is the biggest opportunity, it is also showing up as the biggest area of challenges. So these media experts are saying that, we're finding a lot of challenges when working with social media. What are some of these challenges that people are facing? And, according to you and according to your research, how can some of these be solved?
The usage of social media is growing globally, especially in India. With almost 452 million social network users who spend an average time of 2.5 hours per day on social platforms, social media will be one of the most valuable advertising opportunities in the coming year. Now, the biggest challenge that marketers face in is ad fraud and transparency in this particular social media. And as per our recent IS Pulse report, we found that the first interesting fact is that 86% of the marketers are concerned about the vulnerability of social channels to ad fraud. The second thing that we found was that 65% of the experts also pointed to insufficient transparency and 62% towards eroding consumer trust. So marketers are really worried about the trust and transparency on these social platforms. Now, with all the ad budgets at stake, the verification tech providers play a pivotal role in mitigating ad fraud and providing transparency in these media buys. Now, we believe that it has to be a collaborative efforts of all parties, including the brands, the agencies, the verification tech providers, to take the onus and work towards the transparent data and insights.
Wow. So it is really an ecosystem problem that needs to be solved at the ecosystem level. It cannot be social media alone. It can't be publisher alone. It can't be the brand, obviously. And it cannot be tech providers in isolation doing this, right?
Exactly.
So brings me to my next question. And I'm glad you mentioned trust and transparency, because now is the problem, with the third-party cookies and for, I think 5 years ago, no one thought about cookies as such, but now even every consumer is scared about sharing personal data. Third-party cookies are going away. It's a big challenge for marketers, especially people who are doing a lot of retargeting, a lot of e-commerce marketing. What are alternatives, available? I'm sure there are some alternatives that marketers are exploring. What are some of those popular ones?
Yeah. So I think many marketers are trying to explore a lot of different alternatives and options and trying to find out what will be the best strategy after this cookieless world. And like you rightly said, that there are many concerns about the data privacy, which have led to a lot of legislation and policy issues. And these are also driving technological changes in the industry. Since many of these targeting and measurement features rely on third-party cookies and all the trackers, cookie deprecation has been a big challenge for global digital marketing industry. Uh, and the industry as whole should come together to address this new reality of what a cookieless world may look like. Now, many marketers are exploring and moving towards contextual advertising as an effective alternative. Now, contextual alignment alongside a relevant content has the potential to uh, drive stronger recall, better favorability, and ultimately a more powerful user experience. We did this recently with this context study, IS context study, which shows that 74% of consumers say that they like to see ad that match the content that they are viewing. And 60% of the consumers say that they are likely to remember a contextually relevant ad. So we have seen all this research and people also saying that context will be a good way for advertisers to target the right users. And then this concept of contextual advertising is not a new one. This has been there since long. Although this technology has emerged and improved with additions of certain new things like natural language processing or sentiment analysis or understanding the semantics of the page. Now, at IS, we have this contextual technology which kind of reads the page just like a human mind would do, reading all the grammar in the page, verbs, adverbs, humors, quotes, and understand the sentiment of that particular page. But just with the speed of a machine, because this happens and this needs to happen all in real time. And thus, targeting on all these advanced tech in contextual has increased the relevance of this technology a lot, and marketers have already started using this technology. We also have a lot of different case studies, that shows insignificant improvement in terms of the CPMs, the CTRs, CPCs, and metrics like video completion rates while using this contextual technology.
Thanks for that, Saurabh. I think contextual is the way to go, and a lot of new technologies coming up there. It's no longer contextual marketing the way we saw it in 2008 and 2009, right? And that brings me to one more thing. One of the things, like you're saying, consumers are liking contextual targeting and they tend to remember contextual targeting. And coming to trust there and relevance there, and coming to transparency there, these are major talking points in the report that that the industry pulse report that we're talking about. And it points to seriously a deeper understanding of digital mediums, both on the marketer side and on the consumer side. Brands have realized that they cannot no longer just ride on the trust of a platform, and that direct to consumer interaction is probably the only way they can really build that trust, that one is to one trust with the consumer. Do you agree with this, or are there other ways that brands are going about building trust?
Right. So trust and transparency has been a major issue in the market. And I think that industry has grown so fast that I do believe that a lot of distrust comes from not knowing the pieces, all the pieces in play, right? Brands are increasingly eager to drive more transparency, and for that, they want all the data from agencies, vendors, publishers. And that's why we have seen that industry embrace third-party verification to provide that independent measurement of their media buys so that advertisers kind of continue to invest with that confidence. And transparency and verification is not only helping marketers to give that confidence on their media buys, but it also is helping to optimize their budgets and help make more accurate decisions, right, to improve the future campaigns. At the end, it all is helping them to improve their ROI. And whenever marketers are spending, they do need that peace of mind while spending their budgets. Also, with spends increasing in digital, it's becoming more and more important to have more transparency into the cost and ultimately the outcomes. So at IS Pulse report, we have another interesting fact that 65% of the marketers and media buyers agree that insufficient media quality transparency will negatively impact their media spend. And this insufficient insight into the media quality may lead to experts and marketers to adjust their spends, particularly on these popular platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And that's why, therefore, it becomes so important for brands to work with a neutral, transparent, and impartial judge to perform the measurement. Brand believes that it's not a good idea putting someone in charge of a job where there's a conflict of interest. So from IA's perspective, we have this solution which is called total visibility. As the name suggests, it provides a lot of financial transparency throughout the supply path in programmatic environment, so that advertisers can see to every penny and rupee where their money is going, how much of that money they are spending in ad fraud, unviewable inventory, unsafe inventory, so that they can optimize this in real time and kind of have the optimization of the budgets and have better ROI.
Sounds good, Saurabh. Looks like we will find ways around this, of course. So coming to video, very important media channel, I would say, that has just risen, skyrocketed in the last 2 or 3 years. It is one of the most sought after marketing priorities. I think one of the top 3 for almost 65% of the industry. So given the high interest in connected television, in OTT platforms, do you expect digital video to become the mainstream form of video entertainment versus, say, linear TV in the next few years? Where do you see this headed?
Right. So I think that this shift is happening really fast from linear TV to digital video. The acceleration is really fast, especially after COVID. And with COVID happening, people are shifting more to in-home entertainment. And this has increased Indian OTT audience to almost 353 million. And Indian consumers are increasingly shifting to CTV and OTT because of the flexibility, right? Consumers get to watch the high quality content whenever and wherever they want. And India is a young market with tremendous potential for CTV. And this adoption will really happen fast by consumers. And obviously, where there are consumers, there'll be ad buyers, there'll be marketers. So the ad buyers will also shift their media budgets from traditional TV to digital. And this is also happening at a very fast rate. Now, in our Pulse report, we also found that more than 2 in 5 media experts said that CTV and digital video hold the most potential for innovation in 2022. And they'll be betting their budgets on this. So again, the shift is already happening from both consumers and marketers' end.
Perfect. So it's already happening, and it's just a few more years or months for this to. Okay. Awesome. So sort of coming to my last question, and I know we spoke about this a little bit earlier as well, saying that where you rightly said that, it is the ecosystem that needs to come together. We spoke about media channels, we spoke about trust, we spoke about transparency, media quality, to get the right kind of media quality, especially in today's environment, which is extremely fragmented. It is, and we're buying through multiple channels. We're doing direct buys, we're doing programmatic buys, we are doing AdWord buys. All that is happening. How when a marketer is really buying media, where do you see the loopholes? We're all agreed that we need to work as an ecosystem, but where are the loopholes? Right. What are we missing really?
So it's indeed a very good question. There are challenges in the market. So like India is a pretty large and dynamic market. And brands are becoming more and more conscious of the importance of quality impressions, safe brand environments, and fraud-free inventory. They are extremely conscious of upholding their brand reputation online, and they are becoming more and more discerning about ad adjacencies and also in what context their brand communications appear. Now, last thing a brand would want is to appear around objectionable content or content which is unsuitable for these brands. Uh, these incidents, of if brand is placed in a wrong manner, can really negatively impact the brand reputation. But still, ad verification is at a nascent stage in India, and it requires a lot of education. And marketers need to understand what value it drives versus the cost. How ad verification can help with better optimization and drive higher ROI, and help brands not only be safe but also optimize the budgets and get higher ROI. Another interesting fact we found in IS Pulse report is that 45% of the respondents noted that verification tech providers are responsible for ad fraud mitigation, while 38% says brands should lead those efforts. While we need to bring all the players in digital ecosystem together to focus on this, media quality should be made, it should be made priority in digital advertising ecosystem today. Outside India, in India, it's still at a nascent stage, but outside India, brand safety and ad verification is a mandate for a lot of brands. And everyone in the chain needs to be accountable, from brands to the agency to the publisher and all the ad tech partners in between. It requires everyone to conduct their day-to-day work in a more transparent manner and pivoting towards the quality impressions.
Sounds good. I think we've learned a lot about ad management and ad verification, and how brands can really make sure that the consumers trust them. There is transparency to what they're buying. They're getting the most out of their media spend, which I know is very important, especially in the last few years where we've seen a lot of media budget cuts. So it's important for marketers to get the best ROI, and thank you for helping them do that. And thank you for bringing this consciousness to the ecosystem, Saurabh and IAS. Thank you so much for speaking with us today. Have a great day ahead.
Thanks, Shaini.